For a bit, Tim Casey is in our studio. He is one of the three candidates running for Yamhill County Sheriff. Tim Svensson, Joe Shipley are the other candidates. And Tim, welcome to KLYC this morning.
Thank you, Dave, and I appreciate you giving me this opportunity to be here.
Why are you running for sheriff?
Well, I'm running for sheriff because there's a lot of issues in the county that we need to tackle, and we need to stop elderly abuse, child sex abuse. We need to stop domestic violence. We need to protect the citizens, protect their constitutional rights. Not being in the inner circle since I've been here as far as administration and everything, so I'm going to bring in a new set of fresh ideas. There'll be a tremendous amount of respect mutual respect between me and the deputies and our staff, the community, and the citizens of Yamhill County. So we look really forward to giving the citizens of Yamhill County, providing them with what they've earned and what they deserve, and that's ultimate police protection with professionalism. And we're gonna reach out, and like I said, I'd like to talk to you on your morning cup of coffee show throughout my tenure, I guess, through 12 years of being a sheriff. Come in and get some ideas from the citizens. Let them know what's on their mind. Let them tell us what's going on, what they feel, and what they'd like to see us do. And that's just kind of a few things there. I know we're on a time frame, but...
Oh, you got 30 minutes.
Okay, good.
If we're going to play part of a 17-minute song, we can talk to you for 30 minutes.
Well, I know, but I probably like, and everybody else as well, probably like listening to In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida rather than me. I love the drum solo. I think the drum solo is about 5 or 6 minutes long.
So you're a yes vote for
Oh, definitely a yes vote. I used to listen to this all the time, especially the drum solo.
All right. Some of the fresh ideas you're talking about, give us a taste on what some of those might be.
Well, again, I think that just reaching out and having our deputies, I'd like to have our deputies in some of these small contract cities, instead of just driving through town and doing their regular patrol, which they do a good job of, and that's what we're supposed to do. I'd like to see them park their car, get out, walk down the street, walk in, introduce themselves to the business owners, and now they know them. And do this once a week, and then once they introduce themselves the first time, then they know each other. They can go in and say, hey, Dave, how you doing today? What's going on? And just talk to the people, get out, walk around the neighborhoods. We need to be a little bit more, communicative with the people, and I'd like to see our deputies get out and talk to the people, share ideas, come back with new, fresh ideas. We need to get out, exercise the rural patrol areas, be real proactive, go on high visible areas with our patrol vehicles. I think that we need to go to more public events as far as the parades, the county fair, which we do attend because we do provide a service there. I'd like to see more guys get involved in different aspects of that, and that's kind of walking through the crowds, how you doing, talk to people and that stuff. But again, I think working together and being one with the community and the sheriff's office, the commissioner's office, the business owners is real valuable. And I would really like to see us work together closely or more closely with the municipalities in the area. I know that we do that, but again, I think that sometimes we can get a little bit more personal and kind of get to know these guys rather than just on a call when we're backing them up or a traffic stop. Kind of go into their towns as well, work with them a little bit, see how they do things. They can see how we do things. So when we do kind of have an incident where we're both required to be there, it's a little bit smoother. We kind of know each other, know what's on each other's mind, and kind of how the guy will react to certain situations. And I think that that's a good. Again, it's respect for the municipalities, and we want them to respect us. That's what this is all about. We want to get the respect and keep respect from the citizens of Yamhill County with the sheriff's office, and that's my job as a liaison. I'm going to be liaison for the county. As the sheriff, you need to be a businessman. Again, it's not as much as what you know about law enforcement or what you did or how many certificates you have or how many accomplishments you've made in the past. It's what is Sheriff Tim Casey going to do for me today? This day forward, being a sheriff, what he did in the past doesn't really maybe necessarily affect me, but what he's going to do today forward does. And again, I want to come in. I know we mentioned this in the fall when I talked to you in the radio. I'd love to come in and sit down in your cup of coffee show in the morning, give the people of Yamhill County the information they need. Hey, we're having metal thefts in this area, or burglaries, car prowls. Keep your eyes out. Be proactive. We'll be in this area. This is what we're experiencing. This is what we want you to know. This is what you should know. And then let them give us some feedback. I know that I have talked to several citizens while I'm out on the campaign trail. Most of my campaigning is not done through mail, but it's done through personal contacts. And I benefit tremendously from that because I get to know everybody and they get to know me and they know what I stand on and I know what they stand on and what their concerns are. But we get a lot of citizens that didn't know how to approach us with a problem or an issue, and so it's been real good to let them know and inform them this is how you can do it. Call the sheriff's office, and now that they know that they can be comfortable calling Sheriff Casey on the phone and saying, hey, I know if I call him, I know something will get done. I know his deputies will be here. He'll be here. I'm going to make personal appearances myself. I've told our guys, hey, don't be surprised, because it will happen. You're on a traffic crash or a domestic violence case or some kind of a call out or incident or situation, you look over your shoulder and you can see Sheriff Casey standing there. I'm going to be with my guys. It's all about working together, building a team, leadership, and I provide that. I grew up with that. I came from a great apple tree. My parents produced a wonderful apple tree. There's 7 of us kids, and we've all done very well for ourselves and for the community. We've been community servants in several ways and for many, many years. And this is something that I want to carry on. This is something that I want to give back to the citizens of Yamhill County. I was born and raised here. My family came here early 1800s. My great-grandfather came here in the 1800s. My granddad was born in 1909 in McMinnville. My dad was born in 1935. My mom and dad were married out in McMinnville High School. My 6 brothers and sisters and I were all born in McMinnville, but we have lived in Newburgh since 1958. So it's not just about Newburgh and McMinnville, but that's kind of where the core of where we have been as a family, and my wife's family as well. They've been here long enough. They've established a road named after them. That's CUNY Road. But I grew up in a small town. When I graduated Newburgh High School, there was only 8,000 people in Newburgh, so I know all about the small communities, and we need to really pay attention to all the small communities and the people in the outer parts of town as well, because everybody deserves equal treatment.
So if you are elected sheriff, and even as you continue on working at the sheriff's office, there's 2 hot-button issues that people are talking about now, and they want to know where all the candidates stand. We've been asking this of the commissioners as well as the sheriff's candidates. The medical marijuana dispensaries and the Second Amendment or gun rights. Let's start with the medical marijuana dispensaries. Your thoughts? I know all 3 candidates are saying you're not in favor of the medical marijuana dispensary, at least as it's been rolled out by the state.
And that's correct, Dave. And I do oppose the medical marijuana dispensaries. And primarily the reason for that is right now is everything is unlicensed and it's unregulated. The manufacturing of it's unlicensed and unregulated. The selling of it's unlicensed and unregulated. The packaging is unlicensed, unregulated. So there's no real true regulation on the medical marijuana dispensaries. And I think that in time, if they took more time, they might have found a way to accomplish that. But instead, I think the state legislature kind of put it into the county and the cities and local agencies' laps pretty quickly, and so there's no real safeguard with that either. I mean, we're going to have guys walking into medical marijuana dispensaries with a large amount of cash, and perhaps walking out with a large amount of marijuana, or both. And we've already seen it. We've seen robberies. We've seen somebody that was killed in Canby. A guy was shot several times in his car, hit several other cars in an apartment complex. Throughout the investigation, they found out he had 5 pounds of marijuana in the back of his car. And Ward Weaver's son, the guy that killed a few of those girls and buried them up in the Oregon City area a few years ago, his son was one of the guys that was involved in that. And so what we're going to find here is we're going to find more problems, more robberies. We're going to have more smash and grabs. But the problem is there's no safeguard, and it's going to cause a huge increase of law enforcement exposure or responses to deal with these situations. And right now we have many other things to deal with. But I would like to really stress and emphasize there's no question about the fact that there are people out there that need to use medical marijuana for treatment, for medical treatment. There's no question about that. But I think we need to regulate the dispensary of that until we can assure everybody that there is a good way to do it without all the complicating issues. Again, you know, somebody can walk in with a medical marijuana card and buy 24 ounces of marijuana in a day. That's 1.5 pounds. We've done the survey, and it's nearly around 1,800 joints the size of a cigarette. I guess if somebody doesn't have a medical issue after or before getting that much marijuana, they might develop one afterwards. That's an awful lot of marijuana to go through. But the problem is they can walk out the door, and why would somebody need to have 1.5 pounds at one time of marijuana? So stressfully, again, I want to stress that, you know, there's no doubt people need medical marijuana for medical purposes. but you or I cannot walk in with a prescription bottle of a pain pill, and when it expires and say, I need a refill, and by the way, can you give me a pound and a half? It's regulated, so that doesn't happen. And I think if they can find a way to truly keep this regulated, then it's something that might be an issue that's going to be dealt with much easier for law enforcement, for the citizens of the county, the safeguarding, but I don't know. I don't know if that's going to ever, if that will ever, because it's regulated properly, or if that'll ever stop the other issues that we're going to have outside the doors.
Well, one of the things that some of the candidates have issued or have mentioned is that they would like to see medical marijuana handled like another regulated drug at a pharmacy, and why are we opening special stores just for marijuana?
Right. Well, and I'd agree with that. And, you know, we would like to see it dispensed through the pharmacies, but I don't know that they're going to do that. I don't know if they'll ever go down that route, and so the other only way is going to be through the dispensaries. And I think the dispensaries are coming. We have a moratorium, and I think that they're coming. And as the other candidates might have mentioned, that they would like to see it go through the pharmacy, I would as well. But, you know, are they aware that the fact that's probably just not going to happen? So I think what we need to do as law enforcement, what I would need to do as a new sheriff, is to start preparing for the fact that we are going to have medical marijuana dispensaries, and how are we going to deal with that? If that doesn't happen and it does go through the pharmacies, then great, that's a bonus, and that's going to make it much easier on everybody.
One of the things that I think all the three candidates for sheriff weighed in on this, the indication is that we'll probably go towards legalization of marijuana for recreational use in Oregon. Personally, I hope we don't do that, but that may be where we're headed. If we do, what can we do to, you know, keep society safe?
Well, that's going to be tough, because I think the medical marijuana dispensaries do lead into the legalization of marijuana. And so I don't know what it is we can do. It's going to create much more problems and issues for Yamhill County and everybody in the state in general as a whole. We've already seen with the Metaballs, you know, they're putting marijuana in brownies. They call it popcorn, caramel popcorn, gummy bears, Klondike bars, Mountain Dew. So every form of food that is something that a kid would love to get his hands on, they're making that. And we've seen a 3-year-old child in Colorado go up and grab a handful of gummy bears off the coffee table that was laced with marijuana, ate the gummy bears, and ended up in the hospital and almost died. So I'm not sure. The only thing we can do, like I said, is the fact that we're talking about it now. We're letting the citizens of Yamhill County know what possible issues that we're going to have. As law enforcement, as a sheriff, I'm already starting to prepare for that by talking to other agencies, talking to legislators, talking to other deputies, talking to citizens, pharmacists. You know, what can we expect, and what is going to happen is really kind of unseen, other than the fact that I think that we're going to have a lot of issues that are not going to be in favor of your average person. I think the state of California has already cried out to other states, hey, we did it, don't do it. It doesn't work. Don't start with the medical marijuana dispensaries, because it turns into legalization and you're going to have a lot of issues. And I just think it's going to be a big problem. I think we just need to keep it regulated.
What would you tell Yamhill County residents and Oregon residents? There's a moratorium in place on, theoretically, to give lawmakers a chance to revisit the issue and tighten up the regulations. So if people are listening to you this morning and saying, okay, what should I tell my lawmaker? Listening to a member of law enforcement, what advice would I give to my legislator to rein this in? What would you tell them?
Well, I think what I would tell them is, listen, if you take and you put this medical marijuana dispensaries into our community without regulation, we're the ones that are going to have to deal with the fallout. And you at the state level, for that period of time, have kind of washed your hands of that. I think I would point out all the issues that I talked about here. The robberies, the assaults, the smash and grabs, the fact that now we're going to have children, 14-year-old kids sitting at a bus stop smoking marijuana, or having the ability to get marijuana. That's going to be in more homes. It's going to be available to more people. It's going to be sold on the street. It's going to be purchased, I guess, in a sense, through the medical marijuana dispensary system, but then turned around and redistributed on the street. When you're going to buy a pound and a half, it's just going to happen.
Let's talk about Second Amendment rights, gun rights. There are people that are concerned, not saying it's going to happen, hope it doesn't, but that if we get to a situation where the administration, whoever that may be, may decide, well, this morning we had another shooting. We had a FedEx installation in, I don't have the details, but there was a, did you hear the shooting? And so it almost seems like every day we wake up and there's a new shooting somewhere, a school, FedEx, whatever. And so there is a cry out there for people to really ramp down on the possession of firearms. But there are some people out there, I'll admit, including myself, that feel like the American citizen has the right to keep and bear arms, Second Amendment. Where are you on the Second Amendment issue? And if administration came to you and said we need to disarm our citizenry, what would your position be?
Well, I'm pro Second Amendment, no question about it. Everybody has the right to keep and bear firearms. I have a lot of guns myself. I will not allow anybody to come in and say that we need to disarm our citizens. We have, again, the right to keep and bear arms. The people that are going out and killing, it's the people that are killing. It's not the gun. There's more people killed every year by drunk drivers than by firearms. There's probably more people killed every year by a knife, by a stabbing, or something else other than firearms. It seems to be that in certain cases or incidences, some of the big school shootings have brought the attention to this is a firearm-related issue. It's not. Some of those kids were already prepared to, and they did even have some bombs built so that if that was a safe fail for them. If something went wrong, the firearms, they could still blow up some students. They could blow up themselves. There's so many ways of killing people. The guy in Connecticut that went in and shot up all the students could have just as easily gotten his car, driven through the playground, and killed just as many kids. So, again, I don't think people are killed every year and every day by drunk driving. We don't take alcohol off the shelves. We don't quit giving them cars. People are killed by a knife. We don't take their knives away. So they only want to take away guns, but not all the other things that people use to kill people with. And again, it comes down to it's not the gun, it's the person. And if people are going to kill, they're going to kill, and they're going to find a way.
Let's talk about budget priorities for the Sheriff's Office. One of the issues we've talked to all the candidates about, including candidates for commissioner, we've got Mr. David Russ in our waiting room right now. We'll be talking to him at 8 o'clock this morning. We obviously want to help people. We want to help neighboring counties. Polk County is in a budget crisis, and sheriff's deputies are only on road patrol 10 hours a day, as effective as of March 29th, according to a news release from the Polk County Sheriff. So there are times when a Yamhill County deputy will have to respond for a call for service in Polk County. What do we do as a policy, and where do we draw the line of we definitely want to help our neighbors that are in need of service to give them protection, but we also want to make sure Yamhill County is covered as well?
Yeah. Well, make no mistake about it, the Sheriff's Office is the last line of defense. And in the situation that we're dealing with now that you're asking about with Polk County, what it comes down to are those people are still citizens. They still are people. Our job that we took an oath to do, and what we go to the academy for, and what we take the position of this job for, is to protect the citizens. We don't do it for any other reason than that. Our job, our primary focus is you and everybody else in your family. So I think what we will do, we will respond, we will help them out. We can't just say, well, gee, I'm sorry that there's a domestic going on or there's a crash. We can't respond because it's not in our county. It's our obligation. It's unfortunate that Polk County does not have the ability to cover their county 24/7. With that being said, I think that there's no question we need to, within reason, pick up some of the slack within the areas that are close enough to our county line to, again, protect and save citizens from harm and from danger. And I think what I would like to do is be able to maybe talk with Sheriff Wolf or their commissioner's office, find out what it is that they're lacking, what it is they're missing. I know they didn't pass a bond or a levy, and maybe we won't have to do that. Maybe the citizens are going to find out that the fallout from not having the 24/7 coverage is not a good idea, and that they'll go back and they'll pass a new levy or bond and get the money to get more officers on the road. Then again, it may not be possible. It just may not be there. So again, it's Polk County, but they're citizens in the United States of America, and they're citizens of the state of Oregon, and we need to protect them. And I guess what we'd have to do is we need to continue to take statistics of how many calls that we take in Polk County, see what the cost is, measure that out, and make sure that we can stay within our budget, the constraints of our budget, and to give those people the service they also need. It's unfortunate it's Polk County, but again, they're still citizens and they're still people.
What are your top 3 priorities for, let's say you're elected sheriff in Yamhill County, you're in there, you're first day on the job, what are your top 3 priorities for the sheriff's office?
Well, there's no question the top 3 priorities for me is to get in right away and establish a good working relationship with the staff, the commissioner's office, and with the deputies. And go in, and I want those people, and I know they know this, this is going to be a great working environment. I am going to love to get up and come to work and walk through the door to work for Sheriff Casey. Granted, some of the situations they're going to be dealing with are not going to like, because a lot of people don't like having to go to a domestic or a very bad car crash or an incident where somebody's hurt and writing reports. But they're going to like coming to work. They're going to like working with me because we're going to have mutual respect. And I want to make sure that's instilled upon everybody that I am a good leader. They will have opportunities to do many things other than just their daily routine of patrol. We'll mix it up, give guys an opportunity to do other things, work with detectives, work with YSENT, work with the jail, work with Marine Patrol, Forest Patrol, what it might be. And I think that with that being said, that they know Sheriff Casey's going to be strong. He's going to be fair. We're going to have discipline, but again, he's going to be fair. And they'll respect that, and we'll have that mutual respect. I think that some uniform changes are in the works. I think that we can come out with new uniforms. The uniforms that we have right now are very expensive, and we dry clean, and I know that they're not very favorable with our deputies. They are a great-looking uniform. I love the way they look. They're very, very professional, but there are also some other alternative uniforms out there that are very professional, will get the job done just as well, that we don't need to dry clean. They can take them home. They can throw them in the wash machine. They can wash them. That we can save money on the purchase of that. But if my deputies are out there and they're showing mutual respect between the citizens and the people that they're dealing with, and they're above board with everything, and they're very, very professional, and they show a high level of integrity, people won't even notice the uniform. They're going to notice the guy in the uniform and how they were treated, and that's the most important thing. Other than that, again, it's going to be the community involvement. I'm going to come in and encourage our guys. You guys that are on these contract cities, I want you to get out and meet the business owners, meet the citizens. We need more than just a drive-by. There's a sheriff in a car, and I don't know who he is. He's been a contract guy here for 6 months, but I've never met him. I want to get out and get more community involvement. We need to work together closely, and we need to communicate with each other.
Tell us about your experience.
Well, my experience is I started in law enforcement in 1994 with Newburgh Police Department, and I worked there until 1999. I came over here to the sheriff's office in 2006. I started working court security in 2006, inmate transports. During the summer of 2006, I was moved over to also, on top of the inmate transports and working in court security, I did code enforcement for the city of Lafayette. I was hired full-time in September 2006. And when I came back, I worked rural patrol for about a year and a half. I was then promoted into the woods position as a sheriff's woods patrol deputy. I'm a search and rescue coordinator, project lifesaver coordinator, traffic crash reconstruction technician, traffic crash investigator, public information officer, field training officer. I have a lot on my plate, and that I've done in a very short period of time. But I'm also from the private sector. I owned a business. I owned a business for over 15 years. And owning a business, and it was an asset recovery business, so everything I dealt with every day had to do with budget, and it had to do with somebody not being able to maintain their budget, and that's why we were there. I know how to deal with the budget. I know how to deal with personnel. I know how to deal with, again, the citizens of Yamhill County, the public, the deputies. I'm a businessman, and I understand how to run a business. I went to college at University of Portland. I played professional baseball for over 7 years. And so I have just a wide variety, in 51 years, going on 52 here real soon, I will have to say, life experiences. Again, we had a great apple tree that from my parents, and we learned a lot from them with great family values and Christian values. And so with that, it's a leadership gift that I was born with, and that I will use and utilize to benefit everybody, from our deputies to the commissioner's office to the citizens of Yamhill County, business owners, and anybody that travels into Yamhill County for a visit. They're going to understand this is a great county. It's run by a great sheriff, and we're proud to be here, proud to work for him and be part of him and stand behind him. We're proud voters to vote for Sheriff Casey. Again,
we're talking to Tim Casey, candidate for sheriff, Yamhill County. Do you have a website, Facebook page? How do people find out more about you and what your positions are?
Yeah, we do. We have a website. It's www.timcaseyforsheriff.com, and from there you can also get onto our Facebook page. I I do have a Facebook page address. I think it's Tim Casey for Sheriff, Facebook backslash Facebook. I'm not sure. You caught me on that one there. As
I
far
think
as
it's Facebook backslash and then Tim Casey for Sheriff.
Okay, that's it. And I thank you for that, because I really haven't paid attention to, because I get it automatically. I have a little icon on my computer and I can click onto that, and it's been a while since I've looked at the heading for that.
I think a lot of us are. We develop those shortcuts, and then you have to go and say, okay, what was that address again?
Yeah, and I've had
and then some guy asks you that question on the radio, and you go, I don't know, I just push my button.
Yeah, that's a question that hasn't been asked. I think I got a few other things on my mind, and so, yeah, that was a good question, and I appreciate you keeping me on tap there with that. I'll make sure I'll write that down and keep it with me.
But you can just go to Facebook, and you just do a Facebook search, and Tim Casey for Sheriff. I'm sure it'll come up. There's not that many Tim Caseys for Sheriff, I wouldn't think. Thank
goodness there's not. There's only one that I'm aware of, and again, Tim Casey for Sheriff on the webpage. I encourage everybody to go look at that. It has a lot of insight of what I'm about, what I stand for, what my future plans are, what my past experiences are, and my current experiences and issues right now that we're helping Yamhill County deal with, and appreciate that, Dave.
Okay, Tim Casey for Sheriff, thank you for being. I think it's the second time you've been on the show, on the morning show.
It is.
You mentioned a couple times about a cup of coffee. We did that for a while. We haven't done it on a consistent basis. We've got a lot of infrastructure stuff we're dealing with here at the radio station that we're on the kind of the downhill side on, but we are going to bring that back in the future on a regular basis. Yeah. So whoever the sheriff is, we want to bring him in because there might be questions from the public on just things that happen on a day-to-day basis. For example, yesterday there was a suspicious package scare at the Yamhill County Courthouse, and there might have been people that have questions about how that was handled. And if we had a cup of coffee here, we could come in and say, okay, this is what happened, this is how they responded, this is why they did a certain thing, this is why it took a little bit longer, because some people have a tendency to be backseat drivers. I was hearing a little bit yesterday when we were covering the story, thinking that Oregon State Police didn't move fast enough. Well, folks, you try it for a while.
Yeah. Well, and with that also, having a cup of coffee show and talking about that, it's not just informing the citizens that it happened, but how to educate them on what to do if they do experience it and they are one of the people that are there, because that's the most important thing. Sometimes those packages do go boom, and, that's what we want to prevent. And not only that, you don't know what else is in there. It could be a bag full of drugs or anything. And so it's an education thing, and I think that's what would be so valuable with coming in here and sitting down with you on a cup of coffee, is to educate the citizens, and they can re-educate us as well. They can give us the feedback. So it's a two-way street. It's education both ways. And I mentioned in my leadership portion of my webpage, consistent. And that's what I'll be. I'll be consistent. There'll be consistency. And I think that this will be a very valuable program for the Sheriff's Office to provide to the citizens of Yamhill County. We'll get the word out in half-hour segments a couple times a month, Dave. I think would be absolutely wonderful. And I think we'll see the listener base actually really expand because they're going to get something in addition to what you were able to give them every day or week, and we'll give them something additional to listen to, an education portion. I think that's going to be great.
Plus, they also know what's going on. There was there were some people out there with questions, and one of the things that Dennis Marks, McMinnville Police Department, said, I know that a bag of clothing 10 years ago wouldn't have sparked this kind of response, but this is the age we live in, and you just have to be careful.
Right. We do, and we're seeing more of it. And there are a lot of people that do see this on the news. They see these bags, suspicious packages, but then there's a lot of people in our county and our community that don't have the ability to watch television or to see some of this. So we can give this some information on the radio. He is absolutely correct. That package 10 years ago wouldn't have meant anything. Probably somebody went on over and it would have meant nothing, and probably wouldn't have been anything. But now things have changed, and those packages usually are there for a reason, and that's to either do harm or to scare somebody or make a news story.
That's too bad. Yeah. Tim, thank you for being with us on I want to say cup of coffee. Thanks for being with us as we're taking a look at the candidates this morning. But cup of coffee is coming back.
Great. I'd love to be a part of it. I think it would be fun. I think it would be great.
And we'll schedule that. We've just got some priorities infrastructure-wise from a technical, and we won't go into all that right now. We've talked about it in the past, but we're still working on some stuff inside.
Again, Dave, thank you for the fair opportunity to come in and help educate the people about myself and to learn and get some feedback from you on some of the issues that people are wanting to know about. And I hope we answered their questions for them, and I look forward to being the sheriff for the next 12 years.
Okay. If you want to hear this interview again, you can go to our website. We'll have it up on podcasts. Go to news, recent interviews, and also you can go to the KLYC news channel. It will be added in a rotation basis with all the other candidate interviews. Go to KLYC.us, and you will find 8 choices. One of those is KLYC news channel. Right now it's simply rotating all the interviews for the candidates. They're 30 minutes long. So if you want to go to a specific candidate, go to News, Recent Interviews, go down the list, click on it, you can listen to it again. Tim, thanks for being with us on the show.
Thank you, Dave. Appreciate it.
KLYC, McMinnville, Newburgh, ABC News. And then in the studios waiting for us right now is David Russ. He is one of the 5 running for Position 1, Yamhill County Commission. That is next.